Hey, everybody.
What's up, guys?
Welcome to our February coaching
Perfect.
call.
Yes.
It's going to be a great call.
It's going to be epic. Life-changing, life-altering call here tonight.
So we're going to kick off with a word of prayer.
Because we need help. We need help. All right, so let's pray. Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the opportunity you've given to us to learn more about ourselves and to be honest with ourselves and to overcome things that are keeping us from being your best. We just pray for wisdom. Pray you give us eyes to see and ears to hear what it is you want us to see and to hear. Fill our backbones with iron and help us to be overcomers. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. So I'm going, while everybody's popping on, we're going to give a little pep talk. So we're in month 2 of quarter 1. We are working towards earning we're working towards earning convention contest prizes. Mm-hmm. So little side note, if you're not registered for convention, go get your booty registered. And this is what leaders do. You make sure that the people on your team are invited by you personally, not in a group chat, not even on a team page, but like personally going and inviting them to come to convention with you, because in-person events are like, they're life-changing. That's where it's at. We haven't had an in-person event for so long, so I'm super excited about it. So make sure that you sent a little private invite to your teammates. I wanted to kick off with a quote by Robert Kiyosaki. Some of you may be familiar with his books, hopefully. This is the quote: "Winners are not afraid of losing, but losers are. Failure is part of the process of success. People who avoid failure also avoid success." So we have been talking about like a success-driven mindset in the book study that we've been going through called the Success Principles. And, you know, there's specific hallmarks of successful people. One of the things would be that the fact that you're on this call tonight is a hallmark of a successful person, because you are willing to grow. So super proud of you all who are hopping on. Some of you will catch the recording. But one of the things I wanted to say, and we talked about this on our call last night about goal setting. If you don't have your goal for this month on a little Post-it note, I'm going to challenge you to go do that and put it on your bathroom mirror. Because did you know that less than 4% of people write down a goal and less than 1% review it? So we're going to be the 1%ers that set a goal. So can you guys see what I put? Mine is super simple. This is like my Cliff Note ongoing monthly goal, right? I can keep it on a little Post-it note. It's help 3, develop 3. I just signed my 3rd level 1 last night. And so I am working. I also have 2 events. Oh, and Justin. I have 2 events scheduled for new ambassadors on Thursday. So if you are not actively looking for people to help get started on the products and looking for people within your team to be hosting events for, I would challenge you to go make that happen this week, okay? You don't have to have a ton of prep. You don't need 2 weeks. You can just go do it, spur of the moment. So one thing that I wanted to remind everybody that we talked about on the last call is having a high failure tolerance. And that is what this quote speaks to, is we can't be afraid to fail because that's how we learn. You can pipe in at any time.
Yeah,
do you have any thoughts on that?
Failure is part of anything. Like in life, if you're active in any area of life, you're going to have failures. You're not going to win every day. You're like, it's just part of it. And Plexus is no different. Your Plexus team, your Plexus business is no different. You're not going to win every time. You're not going to sign up everybody you talk to. Mm-hmm. You're not going to keep everybody that you sign up, and everybody you sign up is not going to become a diamond. Like, it's just part of the business. But so what? Anything in life is worth fighting through failure, fighting through disappointment. That's how you win. Mm-hmm. And so the thing is that what a lot of people do, it took me about 42 years to learn this, but what I would do is I'd be afraid of failing. So what I would do is nothing. If you don't do anything, you can't fail, right? That was my mindset. If I just don't engage, then I can't fail. Well, the truth was I failed anyway because I didn't even try.
Right.
So the winning is not necessarily in the goal. The winning is in the work that gets you to winning. Like that's where the real win is. Like when you see somebody on stage at convention, we have convention coming up, right? If you see someone on stage and they're a diamond and they're speaking from stage, like that's the reward, that's not the work. That being on the stage is not what makes that person the diamond. What made that person a diamond is the everything that happened between the time they started and between the time they got to the stage. That is where the winning is at. That's where the success is getting up each day and making a call, getting up each day and doing things that are scary, getting up each day and just keep moving forward regardless of how many no's you got. And doing things, if you're scared, then do it scared.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares? If you're afraid, that's fine. Nobody wants to fail. Nobody wants to be told no. No one wants to do that, right? I don't want that, but it's part of it. And just have to keep moving forward, keep falling or failing forward. That's where the winning is at, is getting back up and keep moving forward. You set a goal. If you're one of the 4% of people that sets goals, like 96% of us don't even set them. So that's a problem. But if you're in the 4% that set them, and let's say you didn't hit your goal, maybe in January. Okay, great. Reset the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Get back up. Be like Wile E. Coyote. He failed like every time. He was my favorite cartoon character of all time. He never gave up. Like he failed every episode. But he always back to the drawing board, right? He's always back to the drawing board. He's like my favorite cartoon character. And so that's winning. Like not quitting and keep moving forward. That's where the winning is at. Mm-hmm. So it's just in those daily disciplines of not giving up and those daily disciplines of keep showing up, kind of like Rocky Balboa, my favorite movie actor, just keeps getting up, right? Like you guys can kind of see who I prefer, but yeah, so if that's where you are, just reset the goal, get back up, keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, and one thing, I was going to make a post on my business builder page, and I haven't done it yet, but I was just thinking, people that are successful are willing to take risks, and they're willing to take bigger risks than 99% of other people. And also they do scary things all the time, because when you do those scary things, that grows your comfort zone, right? If you're comfortable and you're like not feeling uncomfortable in your daily business, then you're probably not growing, right? I just think over the course of my journey over the past almost 7 years, that the things that grew my business the most was when I did things that were outside of my comfort zone. Mm-hmm. Like talking to someone that's like, if they tell me no, like I'm going to feel, oh my word, right? Or if they even reply back to my message, right? But those are the things, and you never know when that next person is going to be that says, sure, yeah, actually I'm in. And I've had multiple situations like that where it's been kind of a scary ask, but then they're like, sure, oh my word, yeah. And I was like, oh, that was a lot easier than I thought. So I've had those situations, but then I've also had tons of no's. But I think, like Justin said, we're failing forward also, right? We're doing these scary things too, but sometimes it helps to know like you're not alone. And so if this is your first time that you've ever been on the coaching tonight, we're super excited that you're on. Mm-hmm. And we're going to kick off by letting Taylor be in the hot seat tonight. We're super excited to be able to chat with her. And so what we usually ask is just tell us a little bit about you, and then a win that you have in your business, something that is going well this year so far.
Okay. Well, I have been with Plexus now for 6 years, so it's been a hot second. I ranked senior gold back in 2017, and I have not re-ranked. So a lot of life has happened between then. 2 kids, multiple moves, and so each stage of my life I've especially after my first baby, I kind of had to just be like, okay, so where does like my kids fit in? Where does my husband fit in? Where does God fit in? Where does sleep fit in? Like I had to like figure out where everything fits in, including plexus, and I struggled to really figure that out. So I lost a ton of momentum after my first baby. And the second time around, I have I had a different mindset. I kind of knew what to expect more, and so I went into it a little bit more open-minded and willing to do the hard things like stay up late when
Mhm.
I wanted to sleep. And but I a win right now is I recently had one of my best friends, she actually has been taking the products for a while, finally finally caught the vision. And so she has been running with it, and it has brought so much life to me because it's like being in the business for so long and like looking for those people that are going to be like life giving, and it's almost like it ignited a fire for me because it has reminded me like why it's so exciting, like we get to help people. And she sees it so clearly because it's so fresh, and it's like this like precious little flower. I like want to like just allow her to like grow and do everything I can to allow that. So that's super exciting to me because my business has always been kind of shallow. Like I started way back when everyone's like, oh, just send like 600 cold messages out and it doesn't matter. So like so much has changed in 6 years. So it's like me trying to figure out like what is now, what is new, what's effective, how can I be intentional. And so there's just like a lot of mental shifts going on from 6 years ago Plexus Taylor to today Plexus Taylor. So
Hmm. Yeah, so you've had a lot of growing, like kind of growing up, because you've had a lot of life change, a lot of life seasons, and that affects our business. Like, it totally does, and you're figuring out systems also, like kind of like you said, like you added a baby, then you added another baby, and then figuring, moves and all of that. So I totally get that. And the beautiful thing is Plexus is there, through those seasons. But then it takes some pivoting and some shifting sometimes, like you said, because you've been in this business so long. There's been a lot of changes in the past 6 years. Even how we kind of like market. It's not really recommended to necessarily post 4 or 5 times a day. Or we really, I think, train a lot stronger on the idea of connecting with people versus sending a bunch of messages out to people that you really don't know, right? Connecting first, things like that. So I think that you've seen a lot, which is great. And this is another thing I was thinking is the fact that you have not quit is to be commended, because I see people like come in this business and then they totally fade out, which is maybe the easier path, but I don't know that it's the easier path because you're forsaking an opportunity God has given, right? And so I'm just really proud of you for sticking with it and for staying the course. And I remember our very first leaders retreat, we were just like kind of starstruck a little bit and asking different jewels and diamonds, like, what's your top tip? What's your top tip? And unanimously they said, do not quit. You will be successful if you do not quit. And I've thought of that so many times because I've seen people in this business for quite a few years and they just plug along. They're not flashy necessarily. Their growth is not like super fast, but they're steady, and people come to their business and then they start to grow. So I think that's what's encouraging and exciting. Did you guys know that Robin Sullivan was in Plexus for like 8 years before she went diamond? I did not realize that. And so her name has just more recently popped up, and she's like one of the top 10 for the Portugal trip. And like how much her business has blossomed, just she's grown, her business has grown, her people. So anyways, all that to say, that's commendable. So we're so glad you're still here and you're on with us tonight. So I would love to hear well, two things. What's something that you want to create this year? I'm curious what you're thinking there, and also what your daily IPA looks like. Like how, yeah, anyways, what does that look like for you? Are you consistently doing like running through a list every day, or is it kind of like when it works that you plug in and do certain things in your business? Curious about that too.
So as far as IPA goes, I feel like it's very kind of scattered throughout my day. Um, my 2-year-old or 3-year-old is in Mother's Day out 2 days a week. So usually on Mondays and Thursdays, I buckle down and try to get as much done as possible and do my reach outs and um, like do as much as I can in those 2 days. And then as far as like the other days, it's just very much like when I get a free moment during the day, I'm like just doing stuff and touching base with people and up until recently I had lost all of my business builders. After like being in it for 6 years, it's like again, most people fall off. And so like I have lost so many people, or people who say they want something and then their actions don't follow up. And like I've told Carissa, I'm like, I can't give them my time. I feel so scattered as it is. Like I'm here when they want me, but my energy has to go to the people that need it. And so more recently having like a business builder, it helps that she's one of my best friends. So I've been pretty consistently talking to her throughout the day with like voice messages and helping her and directing her, hand holding basically. But I know that obviously that will pay off tremendously. But it oftentimes does feel scattered. I am in the process of this kind of leads in to what I want my year to look like. But um I never had systems in place before, and my team was just so shallow. Like my team did not ever go deep. Like I got to senior gold probably just having no one much deeper than a level 3. Like there was just no duplication happening, and I see it so clearly now. But in the moment, like you are just doing what you can to rank up, and I did not rank up organically to senior gold. It was very much like, hey, will you order this month? Like I need you to order this month just so I could hit it. And then no one wanted to order again, and like that's what I want to avoid. Like I want to organically be ranking up and people staying on the products because they want to be on the products and being consistent. And like I've been more bold in saying like, okay, if you're not ready to stick to this for 90 days, like then maybe it's not the right time. And that's something new for me, because again, like that's why so many people fell off. So it's just like a whole new like learning process to me. I just feel like it's a whole new plexus really, from when I first jumped in. But I really, this year, I want to be duplicating. I want my team to run deep and not just wide. I have so many level 1s and people that I can I don't say this to be like like overly confident, but people follow me. They like to follow me. I've lived in multiple places and worked in the community. So I have people following my life just to simply know what's going on, because we've lived in so many different places. And so like I know people like following me, and like I have no problem signing people up as a level 1. It's just like I need to be better at duplicating. And that's in the process, and been a learning process for me, and having that confident language and confident posture about it.
Mhm. So do you have a plan for what you want to create this year?
um Well, I'm in Jessica Heffley's book study, and so as far as an income goes, like I am shooting by the end of the year for 60,000 a year. And like a lot of times I don't know, like, am I cutting myself short or am I have this struggle of like trying to figure out the balance of like, how do I dream big and set that goal and not doubt myself, but also be realistic to a certain extent of like, I've been in this business for 6 years. Like, how do I set a realistic, like, I can't tell you how many years, like, I'm like, oh, I'll be in Emerald next year, I'll be in Hawaii next year, and like the years pass, so it's like as part of me wants to be realistic, and then the other part of me is like, okay, I'm gonna be a double diamond, so it's like trying to find that realistic balance. So I felt like 60,000 by the end of the year was a realistic goal for me, because I think that's right around like, is that senior Ruby, like Ruby senior Ruby status. So that is my goal that I recently set with the book study. But I would love, obviously that takes duplication, and sorry, say that again.
You have that written down and posted where you can see it every day?
I don't, but I will.
Okay, we're gonna hold you to it. You gotta write it down and make it visible so that you can see it every single day. That's how goal setting works, because our brain, when we write something down, when we talk about it, when we see it, your brain starts to try to figure out how to make that happen, and you also become a lot more aware of opportunities when they come your way, because you're so focused on that particular goal, right? Mm-hmm. Where are your points now?
I have been hitting right around like 210 to 225. So I'm close.
Yeah.
I'm close to re-ranking goal for this month.
Okay, re-ranking this month?
Yes.
Okay. Have you mapped out how many orders that you need in order to hit that?
It's last month, I want to say it was around like 5 or 6, depending on the orders.
Okay, that's very doable. just
Yeah.
so you know, like, there's no reason why you can't make that happen this month. What I've been telling everybody though, February is such a short month, front load it big time. Like, comb through your virtual office, people that had like 0 PV last month, message them and find out. Maybe it's just one of those little questionnaires, like, hey, I'm trying to figure out where everybody's at. And I did do like a little ABCD. A, it's like, oh my word, I've totally fallen off the bandwagon, I need to get restarted with my products. B is, I'm stocked up, good to go. C is like, I am on the struggle bus, pray for me please. And then number 4 was like, hey, I'm so thankful that I got started on Plexus, but I need to send the cancellation link in or whatever, because I want to know where people are at. So if you have not combed through those people in a while, you're not going to put all your focus there, but blitz out a message to all those people, especially if you are a high recruiter and maybe had a high retention or high fall off rate. Swing back through those people, because if they haven't ordered in 6 months or more, you can get them cleared out, like a restart as a brand new person. And the other thing is people, this is what I see. I'm signing a fair amount of people, but a lot of them are people that I've recruited once before or twice before, and they're ready to restart again. So, that's also a real thing, is that people do restart. I think the other thing is you are basically relaunching your business with a new mindset, new goals, new habits, and you're going to build it better, stronger, and you're going to build that foundation for like a legacy foundation, right? And so I would just want to just speak to the feeling like you're like nook and crannying it with your business, just with the ages of your kids and the season that you're in. That's totally okay. Okay, that's how I felt for the first like 5 years of my business. I had 2 babies plus a miscarriage in the first couple years of my business. I ranked to diamond. I mean, there was a lot going on, so I get it. My life did not look neat and tidy. I did not have the Excel spreadsheets and the beautiful binder with the little flippy tie things and amazingly organized. No, I was organized as much as I needed to be, which meant like Post-it notes and a notebook. That encourages you that you can still be successful and not everything be perfect. So, and a lot of us are doing it that way. You want to pipe in here?
So one thing I want to ask you just really quick is, so you want to get to 750 points, and you're at 210 to 225. You're going to re-rank this month.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even a goal. It's just reality. Yeah. You're going to re-rank this. We're going to get a quick victory here and make that happen. So one thing I was going to ask you, you mentioned a few times it takes duplication. And I agree. I think duplication is important. But one thing is also, I think it takes duplicators.
Mm-hmm.
So you need, when you share or when you're signing people up, you say you don't have problems signing people up. Like, do you share the business opportunity, or do you primarily share product?
So that has been part of my revamp as well. So if you go to my Facebook page now, a lot of it is casting vision of business opportunity. Whereas before, years ago, it was very much like product based. And I think honestly, I fell off for a year when I had my first baby, that I just wasn't as consistent. Um, Whereas this past year, I've been a lot more consistent. And so that's like, I'm showing up on people's feed, which is why I've been able, like, people are like coming to me, which makes it way nicer when people come to you. But that's part of my kind of revamp mindset, is vision casting on business opportunity. And which is kind of how I got my newer business builder, is I was casting because her vision is a lot like mine, and I was able to kind of talk her through that and her goals and stuff. But that's been something that's been newer over the past couple months.
Mm-hmm. Well, keep doing that.
For sure, because people will pay attention. And this is just not just for you, this is for all of us. When you're posting about the business opportunity, like, trips to Hawaii are awesome, right? Lexus is awesome, all the stuff. Portugal trips, whatever Plexus trip they're giving out this quarter, right? They give out lots of trips, but a lot of that, quite honestly, is not relatable. It's great and it's exciting. So for some of you on there that you're afraid of sharing the business opportunity because, well, I don't have the Plexus Lexus or whatever. So what? Most people just want extra money each month. Most people just want, like, a post about, I made enough money this month to cover our grocery budget. That's a great business post. Mm-hmm. Like, people can like, they can feel that, they can relate to that. Or I paid my light bill, or I paid whatever student loan payment this month was made by the commission I make off of Lexus. Don't overlook a post like that, right? Because people can relate to that, and some people, they want just enough extra money to cover something like that, right? So don't think you have to have like this huge, business story and a second and a third house and a private jet and all that stuff. People would just more than likely, a few will be interested, but most will just scroll right on by. The little things are really important to share. Those little victories, those little bills paid, those little things that we look at as little are actually really big for most people. They're not little at all. Mm-hmm. Right? And I think when you're posting, make sure you're posting stuff like that, because like I said, it's relatable, and I think that people will see. $500 to me, right, exceeded my expectation of network marketing. If someone got on there with a Lamborghini or some fancy trip, I wouldn't have even read it. So I thought, yeah. But when she made $500, I was like, whoa, this is real money. That's all it took for me. I'm like, I'm in. So it wasn't the big fancy stuff. It was the first $500 check. So as you're posting, for anybody on here, when you're posting about business, the little things, people can relate to that.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything that you're feeling like feels hard to you right now in your business? Or what would be the tricky thing for overcoming right now?
There's not anything in particular, honestly. It's, again, just like an overall mindset shift that's been hard, and like feeling scattered because I have a 10-month-old and a 3-year-old. And so, which I know a lot of people on here feel that way also. Like I'm not unique to having kids, but it can feel very scattered sometimes. And I think that can be hard for me. I know, like, one of the hard things that I need to do is I need to get on the phone with people. And that's something hard for me to do as an introvert and as someone who has such little time. I feel like I'm like, oh, it's just so much easier to text people or so much easier to message people. And I struggle with wanting to get on the phone, even though I know it is one of those things, areas of growth in both myself and my business, that it would help substantially. So there's nothing like really that I'm struggling with. I think that I kind of feel like my business is at the cusp of momentum, finally having like a business builder who's like excited. So that has me excited again.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay, well, good. Yes.
One thing I would say too is you're posting, just posting ideas. It's like you're at a special season of life, and you're able to be home.
Exactly. That's
and
what
you're
I was
able to make
thinking too.
$500 a month, and you took the last couple of years off. Like, that's a big deal. Like, think about that. Think about how many other moms would love that kind of an opportunity.
yeah. Well, I have talked about it before, where even that year that I basically took off and I was just kind of willy-nilly with Plexus, like because I ranked up to senior gold and I got that momentum, even though it dropped off, I had a paycheck that was coming in every single month for that year that I wasn't really working. And that was a huge blessing
Mm-hmm.
for my family and my life, and did more than just pay for my product. So that alone is something wonderful. But I don't know where I was going with that, but it's a good thing.
Oh, that's great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, like, this is what I'm feeling that you're saying, is that the things that you need to be doing, and you need to be doing what feels uncomfortable, because that's going to be key to growth. That's going to be key to retention. That's going to be key to your momentum. And even just as a word of encouragement, work alongside your new runner. Don't expect her to carry you all the way to whatever goal that you want. See, what was it, Senior Ruby? I would develop at least 3 other gold legs and make it your goal to go to gold school with your new golds outside of that girl, because you will build a much more sustained business when you're not just depending on one strong leg to carry you. I've seen a lot of lopsided happen where people kind of get comfy cozy, and it's comfortable to support someone that's just running and a go-getter, right? But you working alongside, it's going to push her, it's going to push you, and you will actually be more relevant and encouraging to your team because you're in the trenches, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, this is exciting. I think that you are going to just make some big things happen this year, and I'm excited to see all the success. It's going to be awesome. Taylor, thank you for being on with us. I hope that was helpful and that you some encouragements and even if it's just like to keep doing what you're doing, right? Not to grow weary in well doing, but to keep going because you will reap if you faint not.
Right.
So we're going to go ahead and kick it over to Carissa.
Woo! Yay! I'm so excited. Okay, Kristina. Are you able to? Oh, good. You're unmuted.
Yes. Good.
Hi.
Hello.
There you are. Okay, I was still seeing Megan and Justin for a minute. Hi.
That's okay.
All right. Well, thank you for being in the hot seat. Would you
Yes.
share with the group a little bit about your business, your time with Plexus so far, and kind of give us a little red dot? Where are you at right now, and something that's going well?
Sure. So I started Plexus a year ago, we'll say September. So, 1 full year, now working on 2. And I was a part of another network marketing company prior. So when I first reached out to a friend, I had just had my third baby, and she had posted about, I knew she was posting about vitamins. So I reached out and said, hey, and I specifically said, can I, get a hold of like some vitamins? I just need to feel better. And I said, I just want to be a customer. And she said, well, I mean, it's like more discounted if you, sign up, but like no pressure, you don't have to do anything. I said, okay, great. And I was talking with a friend who actually is not even an ambassador with Plexus, but I was talking with another friend, and she said, isn't that thing where like, if your husband signs up with you, like you get paid? And I was like, my husband can sign up with me. What? I was like, okay, let me look into that. So, so from there, I mean, it just snowballed where I was like, hey, hubby, hey, like 2 friends from church. Okay. Oh, rank up bonuses. Yes. Like I understood fast start. Okay, let's go. So, anyway, so by, I forget if it was February or March. I think it's February of last year. I ranked up to gold. March, I hit 219 because I had like, a couple rank ups with my team. So I hit 219. And then so that was my highest, was last March. So throughout the year, always ranked gold. I mean, there were definitely months where, I was in my back office, like messaging every single person in my list. And I wouldn't say for a month or 2, I had a business builder, someone who was, posting and reaching out to friends. But after that, it was like no one being intentional to pursue the business. So, you stay friends with them, you still encourage them, no pressure, all that. But still setting the example of, me doing the work that I needed to do. Mm-hmm. And so, able to hit gold every month. Fast forward, kept doing the work all year. And then in November, I just had my 4th baby.
Oh, okay.
And so we're 3 months today.
Woo.
And I feel like I am just coming out of that fog, and I was trying, man, like November, I had people enroll, December, I had people enroll, or no, December I didn't, but then January I did. And I'm like, man, here I am, like just trying to have a coherent conversation with someone, and like business just keeps going. So I would say that it's a strength and a weakness to say, I will push myself. I am a hard worker, but it's finding that balance of work hard and know when to rest. So both of those. But like I said, I feel like now I'm coming back into that, baby is actually down for the night right now. And so, now I'm getting some of that me time back that I didn't have. Okay. So in December, is the only month I did not rank gold. So I'm actually super curious to see if I'm going to get the consistency bonus for January, because I did rank gold in January, but I did not in December. So I'm like, I don't know what they're going to do with that. But anyway, so ended January at 103, just was able to get by. So, so as far as what's going well, I do try my best to prioritize relationships, checking in, just as a friend with people, checking in with Plexus, but trying not to be pushy, knowing, do they need a Plexus question or do they just need a relational question? Like just how's life going? I feel like I do have a high tolerance, like we were talking about, with receiving no's and, the attrition. And I do have a high tolerance of like, okay, bless and release, like, thanks. Okay, I got to keep going. So I am okay with that. And I feel like I do take risks. I'm not afraid to do the scary things. Like I think, for instance, last summer, I had an opportunity to do like 600 sample packs, and I'm messaging like Megan and Melody Detweiler's, it's my Emerald. And I'm messaging them saying, is this like crazy for me to do 600 samples? Like, how am I supposed to, do this? But I wasn't.
What do you even mean by that, by the way? Like in a month, what is that?
Yeah, sorry. So I got connected to a kind of community event, and I think they were calling it a baby shower. They were giving away like, I think things for young moms, new moms, young moms. And so I was like, hey, would you be interested in like, could I donate some supplements that would help new moms? So, I hop on Canva, duplicate a information card, stuff a whole bunch of Ziploc bags with, slim, I think I did slim active hydrate, something, or at least slim and hydrate, stuff the card. And
100 of those.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So, so when someone says like, do the uncomfortable, like the risky things, like, yeah, I'm not afraid to take a risk.
Yeah.
I always have to weigh, is it wise? But anyway, yeah. So I feel like those are some good things. I'm not afraid to move forward. Someone says, go do this, okay, I'll go try it and see what happens.
Okay. Yeah. Like not afraid to try, not afraid to fall. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hard worker. Yeah. I hear that loud and clear.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I had a question rise up as you were talking, and it was, you started the business, you told your sponsor, I only want to be a customer. So what was it that you did not want when you said, I don't want the business? What were you like resisting?
Sure. So with the other network marketing that I had been a part of before, I mean, and these were very good things. It was very like couples centered. So like there was one account per household. I think that was in their laws, like only one account per household. And they saw a lot of benefit to like the man kind of like running things, like being in charge. I'm trying to like not make it sound bad because it was a good thing. It was like, men can like, always be present. Like it's more powerful when couples are doing it together. Yeah. So that kind of thing. And so, my husband's great, love him, but I am the more like go-getter. I would love to be an entrepreneur, and that's not his dream. Mm-hmm. So it was nice when I found out, okay, like this can be my game and I can run with it and not feel like I have to have him with me every step of the way. He can cheer me on, 100% support me, but he doesn't have to be here doing everything with me. Okay. So anyway, I think I was just hesitant of like, I don't want to have to, go through like all of my contacts and send out like thousands of messages, like just asking if they're interested. Kind of that old school mentality. Because this was, 5 to 10 years ago where that was the game then. So just not realizing how things had changed in the last several years.
Okay. So yeah. So like when you got a sense for how this was different, that removed that objection and you were ready to run. The reason I was curious about that was because on a couple of times you repeated phrases like, no pressure this, no pressure that, I don't want to be pushy. Mm-hmm. And I have kind of a radar in my mind for phrases like that because I have found that when I feel like I'm being those things, I come across that way, or I come across really apologetic. Maybe I don't come across pushy, but maybe I come across really apologetic for my opportunity. And so that's why I was wondering, was that your objection when it came to the business? It sounds like it wasn't your objection, but maybe some awareness surrounding that would lower some walls for you when it comes to your growth. And I would just challenge you to ask yourself, so something I do before my reach outs is like, I'll think of this person that I want to start a conversation with about plexus, and I'll think like, oh my goodness, how amazing would they be if they were earning 5 figures a month? Like, how much good would they do with that? What a huge blessing would it be if this could help them go on a date every month, or if this could create a vacation opportunity for them every year, or how fun would it be for her to get to come to convention with me? And so I start to kind of think of the ways that this could bless them, to get myself out of the apologetic space. And I don't know if you struggle with that at all, but I'm just going to point out that I heard it in your words a couple of times. But I have a couple of questions for you. Okay. So is there anything you feel like, first of all, is there anything you feel like is robbing time from your priorities in your life right now? Because I get where you're at. I'm a mom of 5.
Yeah. Number 4 here. So back that it all kind of storms together. So I'm at a really neat place in my life right now. In November, like I said, baby was born, and I was also in kind of a fork in the road, or now I feel like I'm at a fork in a road, and I didn't realize it, of removing a toxic relationship from my life. And I did not realize until like November, December, January, I didn't realize how much time that was taking from me. I thought like, oh yeah, friendship, whatever. But today, actually, talk about like life coaching here. Today was 30 days of like no contact with this person. And so, yeah, over the last month, I have seen just kind of that mental emotional time freedom to say, oh, like kids are down for nap. Like instead of dealing with this situation, I can go work on business 100%, So the answer is yes. Like you would think my answer would be newborn baby, but it's not. It was like something else. Yeah.
Because a newborn baby is a priority.
Yeah.
So the question is, your priorities. You sound like a decisive woman. You know what matters to you. So do you know of things that are robbing time from your priorities? I think we can all ask ourselves that question tonight. Like, what are those things that siphon away and sometimes it's not time, sometimes it's energy. What's siphoning your energy? What's siphoning any of your resources? So that's a great, great answer. And it sounds like you've already started to see, fruit from that. So that's good.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Being more intentional with relationships and who I'm surrounding myself with. Yeah.
What does like a perfect plexus week? Well, this is a hard question because you're just now getting the return of any sort of predictability to your life. So let's just imagine for a bit that if you had, it's Tuesday, but let's pretend it's Sunday night. And a week is ahead of you, and it's going to be a perfect plexus week. What does that look like?
So hard not to think like realistic. If I'm thinking ideals here.
You need some realism. It's your perfect plexus week.
Yeah. No, I would love to have my morning alarm set earlier. So, to have, even if it's like 45 to 60 minutes before I'm getting the kids up, and I have one that goes to school. So, before I officially start the morning, have small time in the morning. And then I do, knock on wood, I do still have like a 2-hour window in the afternoon where kids are down for naps. And then like this, depends on how late I stay up, like an hour or 2, at night. So I know that I have those windows where I could be working. Like you said, just getting back into things now. It's so funny. I feel like so many things Taylor said, I was like, yeah, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Of kind of like that new habits, new mindset, all of that, like right now. So I have actually, I mean, I think this is another win. I have recently started soaking up like Abby Kappa and Shalene Johnson, who we heard on Super Saturday. And so they have started to totally change like my mindset on Instagram and kind of a whole new network that way. So like you said, me getting out of the mindset of feeling like pushy or in people's way, whatever, I feel like Instagram, yeah, it's kind of a whole new network, start networking with people with similar passions and interests. And then, from there, have natural conversation about what else is involved in my day, and Plexus is involved in my day. So so perfect day would be, okay, here are specific things I'm doing, like creating a post, sharing in stories, adding new friends, but I'm learning how to be more intentional even with those things.
Yeah. I think that if you could, I was challenged to do this, a couple of years ago, but I was challenged to write down an ideal day. And I struggled in the same way you did, where I was like, oh, well, I'd wake up in Hawaii, my kids would be with their grandparents and I'd sleep till 10. And so it was very unrealistic. And then, so this was, Megan and I both did this exercise. Jessica Heffley challenged us and I kind of didn't take it seriously. Well, then a couple days later, she's like, and I have a $50 gift card for everyone who gives me your answers by this date. And I was like, okay. So if you will write down what your ideal day in your present circumstances, your ideal day, and have it visible, it'll do what Megan said to Taylor. It'll start allowing your brain to think, well, how can I make that happen? And what opportunities are available to me to start to build support systems up or to create windows of uninterrupted time. Interestingly, I didn't hear you say anything about what you might do to kind of refill your cup in your perfect day. So like you would love to have an hour in the early morning and 2 hours in the afternoon and 1 to 2 hours at night. And those could be very productive times. And I can so relate with you because I love being productive. And even when I'm resting, I'm like, ooh, I'll sweep the carport. Like,
Yep.
So I would also challenge you to write out this ideal day or this ideal weekly rhythm, and for sure build in that work time and get specific. Like, is that work time going to include networking on Instagram and developing my niche and making new friends? And, get specific about that. But I would also challenge you to kind of figure out, where am I building in things that are refilling my cup and providing me with some balance and some inspiration. You can't really be inspirational to others if you're, I feel like it's cliche at this point, but if you're pouring from an empty cup and you're never, looking up and taking that breath inward. Okay. So I'll challenge you on that for sure. But I will say that I think that if you have a vision of your ideal day and your ideal Plexus week, then your brain will start coming up with ways to make that happen. And it may not be possible 100%, but you can get closer to it.
Yep.
Do you have, this is another thing I would challenge you to have visible. Do you have kind of a running list of people who are like everything you want in a team member? They align with your values, they're leaders, they're influential, they're good with people. Like, even if you haven't had a conversation with them about Plexus yet, I find that it's really helpful to kind of have a running list where their name is written out, where you have just acknowledged yourself, I want them on my team. And you have that?
I don't. And I guess if there's like one thing that I would say I have, struggled with business, that would be the one, because even over a year ago when I first started, and it was, okay, make your list of 100 people and then make your list of, 10 business builders, dream teamers. And I have never really been able to come up with that. And so, I could like make a list, kind of, things you just said, good with people, blah, 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 that I maybe I could list qualities. But I have not, either I have already reached out to them and it has already been, a no thanks, or I don't have a running list like that. So I think that's why to some extent I'm like, all right, I feel like I have gone through my current lists, multiple lists of people. So it would be great to go network with new people that way.
Yeah, very true. Well, we teach and we preach that you've got to be doing uncomfortable things. But there's something also to be said for like, okay, I've become aware of someone that I think would be amazing at Plexus. I really want them on my team. It would be very uncomfortable to message them right now and be like, I think you should join Plexus. That doesn't mean that's the best approach. It doesn't mean that's going to be the most effective way to get them on your team. So I'm going to add that caveat there for everybody there, that there is such a thing as like social awareness. But, I have people that maybe there's this person who's an amazing personal trainer, or my new dermatologist, like people that make their way into my circle. We've never really tapped our warm market because our life season is always changing and new people are always coming into our life. And so when someone great enters your life, to kind of give yourself permission to be like, they would be amazing at Plexus. I'm going to write their name down and like speak that out. And then again, having it visible, and then your brain is looking for inroads, and honestly, I think this list is important to have just from the standpoint of like, you want to create a legacy, and it absolutely includes Plexus, but you want to be surrounding yourself by successful, growing people who know how to create wealth and manage it well, all of this. So it's just kind of bringing your mind to like, hey, you just kind of stepped away from a toxic relationship that was siphoning away your energy and time, but also be having your mind toward like, who are the people that I want to be more surrounded by, who I want to be, when I do get onto Instagram, they're the first 10 people I want to engage with, that I want to have people, or that I want to have engaging with me. So I would also suggest that. It sounds like like you said, you're not scared to reach out to them, but it's a running list, I would say. What do you feel like you need to do more of? Something that's worked well for you as you've built this last year that you think you need to be doing more of?
I'm trying to think through. It's hard to think through like a whole year, but the last thing that sticks out to me is I really appreciated in November when we did like the 21 hard challenge, and just like having that list. And it's so funny because I still have on my phone like the first 7 days, I like had X's over the date on the graphic you gave us. And then day 8, I put a little emoji of like a little baby chick, and then I have nothing after that. I was like, oh, I thought for sure I could like do a couple more days, but anyway, so yeah, I feel like I need to. It's hard because I actually started to do this. I took the 21 hard list, and I took like 3 other lists of like, here's IPA, and I tried to like put them all together, and I was like, this is a massive list of daily to-dos, all the different suggestions that people have. So I need to get back to that specific, like, here are 5 things that Kristina needs to do every day before her head hits the pillow, and do that. Like I just work really well with checklists and to-do lists. So that would be the first thing, just getting my head wrapped around, like you said, the specifics on my ideal day or my ideal week. And then, just getting back in conversation with new people. Like actually, when you just said, who are the first like 10 people that I want to engage with, when I get on Instagram, I look at these 10 people. I need to write down that list and just be intentional with whose pages I'm going to, and not just scrolling. So
Love that. Love that. So I don't know if you're watching the Focus February series, but Megan Ashman today talked about their team's morning rounds. And I like that terminology, maybe because my husband's a doctor, but that's, they have their morning rounds and it's kind of their daily bread and butter. And it sounds like that's what you need, is to figure out what's your daily bread and butter that you know moves the needle forward. And so when you figure out your ideal day and you know, it sounds like realistically you could have 4 hours.
Try. Yep.
4 hours. Now that may not all be dedicated to plexus because you also need to fill your cup, but it sounds like you could easily have 2+ hours dedicated to moving the needle in plexus. So it's a matter of really trimming it down to what's my daily bread and butter that moves the needle forward in my business. And you have a lot of checklists that you can work from, it sounds like. So that's good. Okay, there was one other question I had. Oh yeah. Would you say you have a duplicating team, or is it all, are you kind of the engine right now?
Yeah, it is me. Now last month, was it, so I have a friend, well, yeah, my level 1, and she has now enrolled, 3, 4, or 5, like from her family. So, not now, she's very much like, I don't want to be posting on Facebook every day. Like, I want just kind of normal conversations. I said, yeah, totally support that. So she's told me how she's shared in her church small group and things like that. So while I would say, no, I don't have like, a hardcore like business builder on the team, I do have people that are not afraid to talk about it. Okay. So I don't necessarily have, besides that example, I don't have a lot of other fruit, to show for those examples, but people will tell me, oh yeah, I mentioned it to my neighbor and they were interested. So I'm like, oh, well, at least you're talking about it. Like, thank you for telling me that. So yeah. So yes and no.
I try to take opportunities like that to breathe belief into people, when they say, I don't want to be pushy, I don't want to have forced conversations. Again, with your posture, if you're going, well, hey, like, I'm not pushy. If you truly believe you're not, and you believe that like there's a huge blessing that on the table for people. But I try to take every opportunity with people like that to breathe belief into them, rather than viewing it as, oh, I'm pushing them into the business. I view it as I'm taking an opportunity to give them vision they don't have yet, give them belief that they don't have yet. So if you shift your thinking on that a little, then you can look at someone like that and go, oh my goodness. And so people like that, I love to tell them, hey, listen, that may not seem like a big deal to you, but I have a ton of people on my team who cannot get their own mom to buy a welcome pack. The fact that you can get your own mom to buy a welcome pack is a huge deal. Like, there are legitimately so many people who cannot get their own mom to buy a welcome pack. And so when somebody can do that and they're like, oh, it's just my mom, I'm like, no, it's not just your mom. That's amazing. So she's got 5 people from her family. That's amazing. I would take the opportunity to breathe some belief into her rather than viewing it as being pushy. But one last little exercise I would challenge you to do, that Jordan Roddenberry recently asked me and Megan in a Diamonds thread that we're in, was if you could come up with a couple quick phrases that describe the culture you want to create. You want to create a team where you're not the only engine, where you've got lots of cylinders running. And two of the things that Megan that the Goffs and I keep repeating on these calls are high failure tolerance and action cures everything. And another one that Jordan shared with us was, it's just what we do. Like, silver is just what we do. Mm-hmm. And so that is just something that everybody on their team hears repeated all the time. It's just what we do. And so be thinking about what you want the culture to be. A couple of phrases that describe, another one of theirs was, I think it was like, work hard, play hard. Megan, does that sound right? Yeah, work hard, play hard. So I would challenge you to do that too, to come up with the focus helps so much. And then it can kind of guide the people you're seeking after in recruiting, and it can guide how you approach and speak to your team every day.
Do we have time for me to ask you one super quick question?
I was going to say, yeah, before we kick off, do you have any questions?
Yeah. So what would you say, busy mom life, and not Megan, you can hop in too if you want. How have you set boundaries with like, here are, 2 hours of my day where like my phone is in the bedroom and I'm with the kids, because I feel like now for the last week or two, I mean, I could have an earbud in literally 12 hours a day, like listening to trainings while I'm doing things around the house. And so, yeah, over the last week, I was like, goodness, I've been listening to so much, which has been really, really good. But yeah, how have you found that, like, okay, 2 hours, phone is away, 100% attention on the kids or the family or whatever?
Yeah. I think every person has their own threshold for what allows them to operate with peace and what allows what when they feel restless. If you are feeling restless throughout your day, you are probably not striking the balance. But what makes me restless isn't going to be what makes you restless. So, like, for example, I like to say that like the life of a mom of young kids, it happens in 20-second loops. Because I can start something productive and I instantly get interrupted by a poopy diaper or someone start, getting into a fight. And so I was telling my husband the other week that the reason moms mindlessly scroll social media is because we know we're going to get interrupted in 20 seconds. And so you cannot, it's almost like you can't get to anything that's going to take a long time or get too involved. That's a tangent. But anyway, I think moms can relate to feeling like your life happens in these 20-second loops. So for sure, one of the boundaries for me is that I have to create systems of support that give me uninterrupted time for things I'm going to prioritize. And I have found that I can hop online and respond to notifications like comments in the nooks and crannies and not end up feeling agitated and restless throughout my day doing my mom stuff. But I have found, this is just me, if I hop into Messenger and I open a message that I think is going to be quick and all of a sudden it's 5 paragraphs, and then I'm trying to log into my back office and figure out so-and-so's account number because this issue needs to be resolved right now, I get into restless, that space. And so that's just one tiny boundary for me that I'm like, if it's mom mode, I can hop into notifications and, hey, there's a quick question in a comment and answer it. I personally feel like I can't hop into Messenger and do that unless it's like protected time. I would love to hear your thoughts, Goffs, but that's an example for me.
Well, I will say I'm not amazing at this, and I agree with Carissa. I feel like your answer was really wise because there's some people that I feel like have like no threshold. Like they honestly feel like if they're not 100% hook, line, and sinker any waking hour their children are awake, that they feel mom guilt about that. I personally don't feel that. Our kids are very self-sufficient. I mean, they're old. I mean, they're all getting older too, which helps. But like, I'm okay with my kids going sledding across the pasture with themselves, entertaining themselves. I don't feel like I have to be the party chairman all the time. Now, when it's family movie time or it's meal time, like we're not on our phones. When it's reading time, I mean, unless I'm making a story and tagging him or tagging whatever book we're reading, I mean, I'm not on like Messenger answering messages and voice messaging or listening to Marco Polo's. Like those are times. Same with school time. When we're teaching, we may have our phones with us for like timers or be able to look up or like definitions on our phone really fast. Or sometimes I'll set a timer for the kids to like work on their spelling words, and I'll pop in Messenger sometimes if there's something I can answer really quick or do a quick story or something of what we're doing in the moment. But I would say I have a high threshold for multitasking, which he'll probably say that's maybe not a strength. Okay, I think it can be annoying, but like I'm fine having a lot of irons in the fire. But I do have that threshold that I'm like, okay, and it does help, especially for highly productive achiever types, to have a list of the things that do fuel your cup. And it can be something as simple as like, I like to go out the garden with my kids, or I like to go push the baby on the swing, or I want to take a bath. Like I have a beautiful bathtub, a beautiful, beautiful bathroom that I worked hard for 6 years to be able to have. I would probably be able to take a bath. Like, that's so silly to have that and then not use it. So I think sometimes we have to take a step back, and that's why these calls are good, because I mean, I wrote down the perfect plex week, the ideal day. Like, those are good things to go and revisit, even if you have written it down in the past. Go remake it. The list of what fuels your cup. What would you add?
Yeah, I think you have to be fluid, especially with kids, because there is no perfect day. Like, we haven't had one yet. We had some great ones. We haven't had I hate to rain on your parade, but we haven't had a perfect one yet. And so we've had some great ones. Most of them are great, but there hasn't been a perfect one. There's always something. You have to be rigid on one hand. On the other hand, you have to be pretty dang flexible. But I would say, with saying that, you have to find out what that is for you and for your home. And everybody's home is a little bit different, right? And so one thing I would say, there has to be sacred times, though. There has to be, even though you can be fluid, there has to be times that are sacred. Like when we go to bed, there's no plexus. Like I don't want to talk about Tarl or Alec in my bed, right? I don't want to talk about their business. I don't want to talk, right? Don't mean to hurt anybody's feelings here. We talked about it all day long. Like, there is no phone here. This is like the plexus free zone, right? Unless it's the last, I will say, unless it's like the last night or two of the month. Like,
We'd rather be working from the bed
because
than our office.
because the last probably two, sometimes 3 nights of the month are sacred times. Those are sacred times for our business. And so that is the priority. And I think there's other times that have to be that way too. Like working your plexus business, there has to have some sacred time there. Now, it might not be 1, 2, 3, 4 hour chunks,
right?
With having little ones. It might be a 5-minute chunk, but there has to be some sacred times for yourself, sacred times for your kids, where you don't have a phone, where you're not doing plexus, right? So I think figuring those things out, and that's a trial and error deal, and it's a day by day deal. So it's all experimental,
right?
So kind of.
You have to be good at reflecting and be like, okay, that didn't work.
Yeah, that didn't work. Okay. So
yeah, and I like those questions of like, making a list of this would make me feel stressed, or this is refueling, and and then prioritizing those.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Beautiful. Thank you for all your opening up. All right, guys. Well, Megan and Justin opened us in prayer, so I'll just send us out with well wishes. But loved our time tonight. I'm excited to go back and rewatch. I always catch a lot from it. I took some notes too. All right, Goffs. Anything else from you?
No, thank you guys for popping on. I thought this was really great.
Yay.
Awesome. Bye, guys.
See you guys.
Bye, everyone.